Hey guys, Martin here from TSI. I'm in the garage this afternoon and I want to do a little bit of gel blaster content for you, talking about different gel balls. Now we all know gel blasters shoot balls, gel balls. Okay. Over the years there's been everything from super soft gels, which is what we started out with, to these days we've got some really hard gels that still pop. You can generally still pop them in your fingers. They won't necessarily pop on impact if they hit something soft, but the benefit of a harder gel means it can be fired more efficiently, not just necessarily by a more powerful gel blaster, but the hardness of the gel means it distorts less in flight. A softer gel fired a bit too fast, and our limit of softer gels used to be around about 290 feet per second, measured at around about 10 centimeters from the barrel. Because over that 290 feet per second, you would find the round gel ball would actually distort and almost become egg-shaped in flight, because the air that pushed behind it to launch it would kind of squish it, and then you'd see it do this, well, you wouldn't physically see it, but in flight you could see it do this whoop, 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 and it would go off in all directions. So as gels have become harder, we've been able to push that FPS a little bit higher to create better performance thanks to the harder gel. Now, got a little bit of an array of gels here that we've used over the years. Now, dating back since the very first of the good gels was the Ausgel Milky. Now, they were nowhere near as hard as we have today, but they were the hardest at their time. We used those for years, and I've got to admit I don't have any Milkies left. You can still buy them. You can still buy them from Ausgel. But these days I've only really got harder gels. The softest of the gels really that I've got is this Red Packet War Interest white gel. Now these, whilst they're not hard in the scheme of things now, at the moment now, these were by far the best gel for a long time. This was my absolute go-to gel for everything up to around about 2.5 years ago, maybe a little bit more. At around that time, the Alpha King gels came out. Now this pack has been opened. I've just resealed it because I've used some. So this is the non-logo Alpha King gel. Now what I say by non-logo is, I'll have to get another pack to show you, but at the top of this pack there is no logo on it that says AKA, Alpha King. There is another pack of these colors. The pack is generally slightly bigger, and in the top corner it says AKA. Those gels are a lot softer. They are only good for up to about 300 feet per second at best. These ones here can generally handle probably 350, something like that, if you want to go that high, but you will see distortion over about 330 feet per second. Now this is also the absolute softest of gels that you could run through a gas pistol. Now green gas and CO2 pistols are a little bit more aggressive on the gel. That release of air behind them can damage the gel. A soft gel out of a gas pistol will literally just come out the barrel as dust, as confetti as we generally call it. So these ones I have not got in water as a test for today, but these were the OG for a long time. Now these gels are very similar to an older Ausgel. So these came after the ones they called Milkies. Now this was a harder gel. In the grand scheme of things, it's nowhere near as hard as some of the harder gels these days. But this is a good gel that you can get in various different colors now. You can get them in pinks and oranges and blues, I believe, in different colors, available to be used at venues that don't allow the super hard gels. So these ones are hard, but not crazy hard. Now, this AKA packet is just another branded version of the not so good version of this one, okay? So these are not the best. They're firm, but not hard. As far as glow gels go, this is a really bad packet to show you, but it's this same brand, War Interest. It's a green packet, and they are a glow gel. Now, they will fire out of some of my blasters, but not with any accuracy. They're just good for if you're wanting to use your glow mag or a tracer unit to see where your gels are going, give or take, but they don't fire as consistent. Now in the test for today, we'll use a couple of blasters. We'll put some through my Falkor, and we'll put some through my Demi DMR down here. Now, in both of these gel blasters, they're both running an SHS M120 spring. And for any conjecture out there, you can see the packet, whatever version of the gel you want to call it, there's some Chinese logo writing here, and it's that version of spring. Now, call it a fake spring, call it an SHS spring, call it whatever you want. SHS do not make this spring, they have this made for them and they repacket it. There's different versions of packet, whether you buy them direct from SHS, whether you buy them from wholesalers or various shops. Call it genuine, call it fake, call it whatever you want, but this is the springs we've used for a very long time with great results. This is the spring that I have in my Falkor and in my lightweight M4 down here. Now, I will not note that both of these have this spring, but it is cut down. Why? Well, a lighter spring on a faster rate of fire will often get premature engagement, which means your piston head is not forward, ready for the gears to pick it up and pull it back again. So to stop that, you run a heavier spring. That means your piston speed is up. But with this full-size uncut M120 spring, this blaster here will run about 390 feet per second. And I don't want that. I want them down way below 350 for all the venues I play at, both milsims, indoor, outdoor. I cannot have high FPS, and I don't want it because of that gel distortion. I want maximum about 330 FPS. Now we'll see in the chronographing what these run, but this one is the spring I run. Now if you want to run a lighter spring, same deal. You can go an M110 of the same type of spring, same logo, same writing, whatever you want to call it, but this one in full size will just be on the boundary of premature engagement in this blaster here, which is running around about 29 rounds per second. This one here is also running an M120 spring, same as this one here. From memory it's cut down, this one's running 39 RPS, but it is very, very, very short stroke, so this spring is not being compressed all that much. Alright, so let's look at the gels. Okay, so we're on the workbench here, so this is the gels we're going to run for this test. Now, I've just got them labelled on the bottle here, nothing scientific. These gels here, this is just a mixture of old gels. Now this is pretty much all booms. As I said, older gels, labelled with an O. This is basically for use just in gel blaster grenades or just random stuff where I don't feel I need great gels. If I'm just having a plink with the kids, that's just leftovers that I tend to use. My go-to, up until basically today, if you want to call it that, is XTAC booms. Now this is a fresh amount of XTAC booms here. Sorry, I'll turn this so you can see it a little bit better. So this is the XTAC boom packet. These gels are circa around about a year ago, or when they first came out. I haven't bought any recently because I've had them a long time. Now as you can see, if any of you are really up to date with booms, they are very white in their dried form. Now for anyone that's bought booms fairly recently, in their dried form like this, they seem to have changed colour a bit. They have a little bit of a yellowy tinge to them. These are definitely the white booms, which I'll call the OG. These are the absolutely best gels that I personally have used. These ones here are grown 2 weeks ago. They're probably still perfectly fine, and we will try some through the chrono just to see how they still perform. So these are brand new booms grown this morning for 3 hours. These ones here, labelled by the E, are Ausgel Elites. So this was the absolute best gel, in my opinion, before the booms came along. Now, Elites are every bit as good as booms if you control grow them. These ones were grown for 2.5 hours to try and control their size. Now, why do I feel like I have to control their size? Well, if I don't control their size, they can get a little bit too big. They can grow oversized. The only way of really controlling that is to limit their growth time. So these have been in water for 2.5 hours, and in general they should be pretty consistent. They are very hard. They're Probably harder than booms, I would say, but I've always found booms to be a little bit more consistent in size when grown. One little point to note, you might not be able to see so much on the camera, but elites are definitely bigger when they're dry. Can you see that these are definitely bigger in size than these ones before they start out? Alright, now prior to having either of these gels, the absolute best gels, as we mentioned before, were the Alpha Kings with no logo on the packet. Now that's Alpha Kings with no logo. These were also grown for the 3 hours, exactly the same as the booms, but not 2.5, the same as the elites. Now this is a gel that I've never actually used before. This is the iHobby Gel Master. Now, they look the same as everything else. I've never used them before. I grew them for 3 hours, the same as the booms and the Alpha Kings. So we'll see how they chrono. And we'll see how hard they are as well. I've never even rolled them around in my hands to see how firm they are. So for this test, we're going to use these 4 gels. We'll try some really old ones, and we'll try some 2-week-old booms as well. Alright, so we're going to start shooting some gels. For this one I'm going to put my head cam on so that you can actually see the chrono, because from this one here, when I'm shooting gels, I'm going to be blocking the chrono. So let's shove, as a benchmark, I'm going to put in my OG gels that I ran last week at, 2 weeks ago. These are the booms, going to be hard to show. They seem, again, you're not going to be able to see, but pretty consistent in shape and size, considering they're 2 weeks old. So we'll just chuck them in. They're not wet, they're not dry, just straight out the water bottle. There'll be a little bit of moisture still in there. We'll shove them through the Falkor. Now this one is running a Leviathan, so I'll just need to prime the gels up. Okay, so running a Leviathan, full built scythe gearbox, of course, by Shaka. Let's turn this chrono on. Interested to see if you can see any numbers. So on these old gels, it's actually running right now at around about 280 feet per second. 88, 81, 74, 82, 60, 76, 94, 88. So we're actually a little bit down on FPS to where I kind of thought we might be. Let's just shove it in auto and see what we get. Oops, let's go again. Okay, pretty much identical. Not sure if you can see that. See if I can bring it in for you. 88, 79, 76, 73, 94, 97, 86, 88. So these are the 2-week-old booms. So let's shove, and as you can see, they're pretty much smashing straight through my target down there. Let's shove some fresh booms in another mag and go straight in with some fresh gels. I didn't turn the head cam on, so do it now. Okay, so the bench line on those other gels was around about that 280, something like that. Now this is a XTAC 7.25 barrel. Let me just shoot through the other gels and prime this mag up. Okay, so we'll clear this. So that was 283 as an average. Go again. Okay. That's a little bit more like it. So, fresh booms. Apart from the very, very top one, we got 312. Is that focusing for you? There we go. 312, 311, 313, 310, 310, 35, 39. So that is where I expect this to be. Up to around about 320, something like that. But we'll just put it in auto and see if auto gives us any better. And you gotta love XTAC Apaches. Oh my goodness. So what have you got there? 21, 19, 20. That's obviously a slightly small gel at 02. 22, 18, 16, 7. So 320 on auto on fresh booms. Okay, so there's my benchmark. Absolutely fresh XTAC booms. Clear the barrel. Absolutely fresh XTAC booms through this Falkor at 320 FPS. Now let's just try my other full scythe build by Shaka. This one is a Asta full scythe, but this one has a 7.1mm barrel. Do you remember the old blue Fighting Bro barrels? They supposedly were a 7mm barrel, as according to the side of the barrel, but if you mic it or use verniers, it's actually 7.1. So I apologize if this one sounds a little bit windy. This is my very first set of 12-to-1 gears that I ever bought. Was in my first ever build that Shaka did for me, and we decided when we rebuilt this one, this is one of the WAT G&P receivers. When we built this one, we decided let's keep those old gears in there and let's see how long they run for. So here we are. A little bit varied there. Got a little bit jumping around a bit. See if you can get that to focus. So 298, 13, 12, 22, 41, 99, 599. So that's an average of 300. Let's give that an auto burst. There we go. Can you see that one? So 36, 15, 27, 19, 26, 13, 22, 92. So for what it's worth, call it exactly the same FPS as the Falkor. 320, which is exactly where I want them. Now, this one, when did we build this one, Shan? Call it 2 years ago. This is a Gen 1 scythe, so that's how old it is, if you want to call it that, with a 7mm barrel. Now, we're completely honest with you, with this 7mm, 7.1mm barrel, this has got the best range out of any of my blasters. We just saw it, 320 FPS on booms. This one sails gels easily past 50 meters. You know, we've range tested it to 55, nearly 60 meters inconsistent, but at longer ranges, as in beyond 50 meters, consistently, no dramas, pretty much every time we'll sail past that. So, while we've still got some of these really hard booms in there, let's try my indoor build. This is also an Asta. This one is 39 FPS, RPS. FPS, I don't know. Can't remember. Haven't chronoed this one in a long time. I don't use it much because I don't play indoors much. So let's see what it does. So this is still those OG booms, fresh. Now the FPS looks like it's down a little bit. It's only around that 270. Oops, sorry, where are you? About 270 FPS. Let's give it an auto burst. Oops, my cover's coming down. And it's still around that 270. So we've got the top one. It's obviously a bit of a dud gel. 278, 84, 67, 73, 300, 71, 94. So averaging about 270 on these booms. As I said, hasn't been used in a long time. Maybe it just needs a little bit of a service. Not too worried. We'll leave it here for now. Alright, one other one I'm going to put through some gels through. Just need to grab a mag. Is a completely stock bar barrel, because I have changed the barrel, in this G36 from WAT. Okay, now it's completely stock. I changed the barrel because I wanted to put a Hellfire on the end there. And pretty much like most LDT products, the inner barrel fell short of about 25mm from the end of the outer barrel. Which meant when I put my Hellfire on there, the barrel finished right down here, and I had a jump to the outer barrel prime. So this one, we'll see what it chronos at. When I bought it, it was 350, and I do know it has dropped a bit. So let's clear the chrono. Start her up again. Come on in. We had obviously one gel pop a little bit there, or a couple. So it has dropped. As I said, it was 350. It's now 250. Let's give it a little bit of an auto squirt. That blowback's cool though. I love the blowback. So we're still there at that 250 mark. Again, on booms. So, now that we've checked all the different blasters, let's try some different gels. Let's try some Elite. So I'll just empty this mag of fresh booms. And this mag as well. This one is OG booms. Oh, sorry, 2-week-old booms, if I want to call it that. Really wet. Oops, my bad. Okay, and now let's try some Elites. Now, as we said, these were grown for 2.5 hours. So call that a control grow to try and not have them growing oversized. Don't need that many in there. Okay, so first up, we'll go straight to the Falkor. We're at 320 with fresh booms and 280 with the older booms. So, alright, clear the chrono. So, 320 with older booms, sorry, new booms, 280 with older booms, semi. 303, 300, something like that. Put it on auto. Got a few popping in there, unfortunately, or just inconsistent size maybe. 303, 307, 305, 285, so there must be a high reading in there because it's giving us a 325. So I might just clear it and give it another crack, just see if we get more consistent readings in there. So I saw a 1300 in that, so this is popping these gels. So that's not a good start for Elites. Didn't really pop any booms, but we're popping Elites. So let's try a lightweight M4. This definitely used to run booms because this was a Milson blaster that we used. Sorry, Elites, not booms. Let's clear this. Start again, semi-auto. So that's reasonably high. Got a couple in the 330s there. 320s. 315s. So the 7mm barrel, 7.1mm barrel, maybe these gels are a little bit smaller. That's why our FPS is lower. Let's give it an auto burst. That's dropped our FPS a little. 304, 311, 304, 288. That's obviously a pop gel at 125, 303, 326, 318. So in FPS, 20 FPS lower, I guess, maybe 10, maybe 15 FPS lower than fresh booms. Alright, so that one was higher in FPS. The Falkor, so that was 320, 315, 310, sorry. The Falkor was 300-ish. So we're down 15 to 20 FPS on booms. So Elites are obviously smaller. They definitely favoured the tighter barrel in the Camo M4, which probably shows they're a smaller gel. Let's try some of the, where's the A? Alpha Kings. Now these might pop. These might be a bit too soft for these blasters, but we'll soon see. So we'll go straight to our Falkor. Primer up. Clear the chrono. See how we go. Semi-auto first. Nice and consistent. Look at that. No pops. So none popping at all. 310, 34, 311, 311, 312, 39, 36, 39. So we've got an extreme spread there of 7 FPS, which is really good. Let's go in auto. Where are you? Focus. 305, 318, 317, 39, 35, 313, 310, 310. So we've got an spread there of, what, 13. So the Alpha Kings, 310, 315 FPS. So the same as the booms in the Falkor. So don't forget the Falkor's got a 7.25mm barrel. So a little bit bigger than the Camo Blaster. So let's check the camo now. Alright, clear the chrono, fire up again. Alright, semi. So we're up. .330, 317, 330, 317, 326, 319, 341, 322. So with the tight 7.1mm barrel, the Alpha Kings have jumped, what, 20 FPS over the 7.25mm barrel. Full auto. .22, 76, obviously that 276 is a bit low. 346, 318, 16, 88, 15, 36. So a little bit more spread in there. Not quite as consistent as the booms in size because we're getting a different spread. But higher FPS. That's higher than the booms through this blaster, which also means it's much, much higher than the Elites. So not quite as hard, but still chronoing and running just fine through both the blasters. Now, I didn't test the Elites in the G36, but I am going to test some booms in the G36. Sorry, not booms, Alpha Kings, just to see how it runs. For the simple fact is, Elites and booms obviously were very similar in hardness, and I want to see if the FPS is going to come up in the G36 with a softer gel. Now the G36 has got an Ausgel 7.3mm barrel in it, so it's tight-ish. The factory barrel was a 7.5, so it's a little bit tighter than factory, but it's not tight like a 7.1mm barrel. So let's see what our FPS is. Now we were down around that 250, which as I said when I bought it, it was 350 FPS using fresh booms. So this is Alpha Kings through the stock G36. A little bit all over the place. I shot a few more than I needed to there because if we scroll down, you'll see that we had, where were we? A 363, a 67, and then we consistently went around about 265, 255. So, say, up a little bit over the booms. Let's go auto. Still, 260, 258, 263, 254, 267. So I would say a little bit higher FPS than the booms through the G36. But unfortunately, it is still way down on that 350 it was when it was new. Okay, so that's all the gels that I know that I've been using for years. Now let's try some of the iHobby white gels. The word on the streets, they're pretty good. As I said, I've never used them before. I've never grown them before until today. Literally only bought these yesterday from Azrael's. So, let's see how we go. Just just to be sure. Got an eye on there for iHobby. Now what are they like hardness wise? Let's have a fondle with a few. Oh, you bugger. Very hard, so right up there with elites. They're, yeah, can't even pop them with my fingers, so that's a good sign. They're hard. Shape and size, they look really good. Some, and obviously the camera won't show this, some have a kind of almost golf ball kind of texture finish to them. Some don't. So, through the Falkor, primer up. Good sign, they weren't popping. Okay, semi-auto through the Falkor. Nice and consistent. .304, 298, 304, 307, 307, 297, 297, 309. So that's slightly higher FPS than the booms through here in semi, because they were just shy of 300. Let's try an auto. Very, very similar, hasn't changed. Well, there's a bit of a spread there, so 320, 297, 306, 312, 314, 35, 316, 35. So just over 300. Pretty good. Obviously I can't do a range test with them in the garage here, but that consistency is pretty good. Let's try the tighter barrel. In the old whiny. Not sure if you guys can hear the whiny, but I don't like the sound of it. It's not a clean noise like my other Shaka builds. But as I said, it's got the old worn out gears that we want to kill. Straight off the bat, 2 gels and it's read 8 times, so it's popping the gels. I'm going to clear that because we've got 1,000 in there. Yeah, this is popping gels, so it doesn't like the tight barrel. Let's try again. 3 readings from 1. 1 reading, that's better. No, not liking them at all. You see that? See the readings going crazy? 1117. So we started to get a reading or 2 there. 315, 299, 321, 324. It's not ideal. Yeah, not working at all on this one. So let's try auto. Auto's a bit better. 7, 18, 8, 6, 13, 3, 10, 18. So on auto it seems to be working a bit better. So something interesting there. Not working the best on semi, but working well on auto. So FPS of those is exactly the same as the booms on the tight barrel. So looking at that, the Alpha Kings being the softer gel gave a more consistent reading, I would say. The Elites were definitely the lowest reading, unless we were talking in the tight barrel. The booms, the Alpha Kings and the iHobbies were 315, 320. We did see close to 330 on the Alpha Kings, but the Elites were way down in all of them. So out of these 4 gels, we've only seen a spread of 25 FPS across 2 blasters, and the 3, well, we'll check the iHobbies in the G36 now, but so far across all the gels, we've seen only a spread of 25 FPS, which shows they're all similar shape and size, I guess, if you want to call it that. All similar consistency, but you can definitely be sure that the Alpha King is nowhere near as hard as the others. exactly the same, 250 to 280 odd. So the iHobbies, much the same as the others, just newer. Alright, in conclusion to the little test, it seems that my absolute older long-term favourite, the Alpha King, with no logo on the packet, so as you can see here there's no logos in this corner of the packet, they still perform really good. They fire consistently, they weren't popping, I just wasn't sure if they were going to pop, but they still fired with really good consistency, and I know that from experience with them, they fly really well. When they're fresh, they have a really good consistency in flight. The grouping is tight as far as gel blasters go, which means their shape and size is pretty good. Grown for 3 hours is a relatively conservative grow for AKAs in my experience. You can grow them a bit longer, but I wouldn't grow them for days on end, if that makes sense. And I know that they don't rehydrate that well, so if you try and put some water in some gels that have been sat there for weeks, they don't like it, they don't regrow and work well. The iHobbies, it's interesting to note the iHobbies, I think they're very similar to the Ausgel Elites. They are super hard. At 3 hours they seem to grow quite well. I think in putting them side by side in the packets, they look identical. Whereas, as I noted in the video, the booms look quite different. But I will note the new booms that are currently on the market have that yellowy tinge to them, which means they're obviously slightly different. The iHobbies in the Falkor chronoed well. As you probably remember, in the camo painted M4 didn't chrono well in semi-auto, they were popping, but in auto they seemed okay. Maybe that was just that short sample of, didn't quite like it. I'll have to test them further to note that. The Elites at the 2.5 hour grow worked fine, but I know again from experience that unless they are grown at that 2.5 hours and used on that day, they don't last. They're not a very good gel to use in a few days' time. Booms, as I said, the older booms that I've had for some time, they're not the current available booms. These ones are outstanding. Their chrono was second highest, just under Alpha King. They're a lot harder than Alpha King. And at a 3 hour grow, they seem extremely consistent in their shape and size. Obviously, looking through the bottle is not ideal, but I can't see any, oversized gels that just make you think, oh, there's a giant in there. Really good consistency. I can't see any, oh, there's a horribly shaped one. I can't see any that are split and broken, which is one thing that we tended to see a lot with Elites, is there would be quite a few damaged gels that will grow damaged. I can't really see any in this sample. This is the Elites, as you can see here, and they do seem to be a good shape and size. Again, 2.5 hour grow. Oh, that one's absolutely tiny. That one's pretty big. So, yeah, the Elites, as long as they're control grown. Now, final wrap it up. Booms, still my favorite. Alpha Kings, gotta be second favorite. They still work really well. And iHobbies, I want to give them a solid crack outside. So the next time I'm outside at a range, at the gel field, I'll give them a good run, see how they go. But so far, I think they're good. And I've got to say, whilst Elites work, they're not up there as my favorite, but control grow them and they will be fine. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope that gives you some answers. I couldn't test any softer gels unless I was to shoot them through the G36 only, because these will pop soft gels. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again soon. Catch you later.